Alright, so today we are going to show you how to create a new vendor in QuickBooks. So I already have a company open. I actually used the company we use for Project 10. The first thing that I will do is go to Vendor and then Vendor Center. Now you see I already have active vendors over here. So if you want to enter a new vendor or create a new vendor, you have two options. You can go over here to New Vendor and go ahead and hit New Vendor. I personally like to come in and right click here, and then you have all your options here. So you can just hit New Vendor from that drop down box. And it'll start opening up and you have to set up the account. So start by giving it a new vendor name. Opening balance, you can make it 0 or put a number in if there is an opening balance, but if you do have a 0 balance and you just leave it blank, it will stay as a 0 balance once the vendor is created. Company name you have to put in there, which will be the same thing typically, and then any information that you have about this vendor. So if there's a specific person that you deal with, the manager of the company, you'll do that. Then you put in any other information that you have. So typically in most of these projects and homework assignments that we've done, we didn't have anything but the main phone number. Some we might have a mobile number or a main email address, but typically main phone number is all we have. You'll then go to the address and type in the address for the vendor so we know where to bill the information to. Once that's completed, you have to do the rest of the settings for the vendor. So first we'll go to payment settings and you have to put in an account number for them. Credit limit, you may have a credit limit with this vendor, you may not. Typically we leave this blank. I think there was only once or twice so far this semester that we actually had to put a credit limit in. Payment terms, you have to go here. I personally would rather use the keyboard than my mouse, so I'll just hit N and then it'll bring up net 15, 30, or 60 and you can choose whichever. And if you hit tab, then it takes you right out of there. And then new vendor name. If this is what we want it to say on the check, then we keep it the same. If not, you can change it here and then it'll save as a different name for the check. Then tax settings, you have to put in their tax ID number. Account settings, we haven't used this at all this semester yet, but you can make it so that when you pay or write a check to this vendor, it'll automatically open up one of these expense accounts on the check, as this is where the money is going to be coming out of or going into, whichever it may be. And then additional information, we need to choose who the vendor is, what type of service they're giving to us. So if they're a service provider, you click that and then you will hit OK. Now you'll see that that new vendor has been added to the active vendor list. You can right click on the active vendor list on that particular vendor and you can edit the vendor if you need to, or also delete the vendor. So I'll show you how to, if you delete it, it just asks you if you want to and you hit OK. I didn't want to keep it because this is one of the projects that we've been working on. If you have any other questions about how to add a vendor or edit a vendor, please let me know.